Right, Coach Helen for YouFit Studio. Now, first things first, yes, I've turned my phone on silent, so we're going to vibrate in the middle of this. Right, how to be compassionate. Now, this might sound like quite a straightforward suggestion, really. Like it's quite a straightforward thing, right? Or something to learn how to be compassionate, right? So how to be compassionate with yourself. Now, you might say, right, why now? Because I'm doing that a lot in the minute. Why would you want to do about compassion now? Because actually from speaking to people, there's a distinct lack of compassion towards someone's own behaviours at the moment. It's very black or white in that sense. And by that I mean there's actually showing compassion and showing absolutely none whatsoever. There's very little in between at the moment. Very little at all, in fact. So it's just two positions, back and forth, one or the other, nothing in between. And I'm hearing that and seeing that a lot with clients. So what I want to go through is the understanding of some behaviours and some language, and the difference between the two when you're thinking about being compassionate with yourself and compassionate with your own behaviours as well, which I think is really important because I think some people have struggled with some of their behaviours maybe a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and again there's very little compassion they're showing towards that at all. There's a lot of judgment, very little compassion. So I'm just going to go through maybe two ends of the scale, maybe. Some of this might sound a bit harsh, however, I'm kind of using language that clients are using with themselves. And when I'm having discussions with them, how they're actually kind of not quantifying, but allowing some of their behaviours to take place, right? So now this is a very big one. And it's kind of a lot going on at the minute as well, I think, certainly over the last weekend or so. So there's a difference between giving yourself a break, all right, and a get out of jail free card, right? So I'm going to discuss that first one. So giving yourself a break is saying, do you know what, you're taking a lot on at the moment, and actually maybe there's a balance between what you can do in terms of health and fitness and what is possible. So you're coping against your ability or skill set. And that's the difference between giving yourself a break and letting giving yourself a moment to recollect and think, right, okay, I'm balancing a lot right now. It's okay if things don't go according to plan. And then another thought process at the other end of the scale, which is get out of free card. Now, the get out of free card is almost saying, do you know what? 3 sheets of wind. I'm use different language then. Don't give a fudge. Right? It is what it is, as some people are saying. So I'm not caring at all. So I'm going to behave wherever I want and put that on my situation, right? That's why I said it must sound as harsh. However, this is again client conversation. So get out free jail card, right? So that's an opposite end of that scale. So again, giving yourself a break as opposed to get out of jail free card for whatever kind of behaviours you're playing with. Okay, or you might be listening to some of this and go, sounds like me. Well, it's okay. I'm just saying this is showing compassion. You want to be moving more towards, okay, giving yourself a bit of a break, but understanding a bit of a break isn't a full-blown blaming on the situation and doing whatever you want secretly underneath, right? So being kind to yourself is one end of the scale of compassion, right? So being kind to yourself. It's not letting yourself off the hook. So that, like when I'm saying being kind to yourself, I'm saying, right, so, okay, let's be in consideration that maybe not to do everything all at one time. Okay, so being kind to yourself can be interpreted as multiple different things, right? It could be not going full, you lost that, you wasted that opportunity, etc., etc. It would also be, actually, I'm going to take some accountability for my behaviour. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to be conscious of it. I'm going to be mindful of it, right? I'm going to be compassionate with myself. And so I'm going to take the learning, moving forward, I'm going to own my behaviours. Whereas letting yourself off the hook is undoubtedly not taking any accountability of the behaviour whatsoever, and kind of blaming it usually on something externally to you. So either it's a situation, it's someone else, it's often someone else when you're letting yourself off the hook because you're putting the hook on someone else, right? So how to be compassionate, right? You want to be kind to yourself is, yes, it's saying, okay, this didn't go according to plan and that's all right. Got to take the learning from it and move forward, not let myself off the hook and pretend it didn't happen and keep going. Okay, choosing, okay, this is a good one. Choosing to be genuinely kind and not avoiding being mean. Okay, so choosing to be genuinely kind is to be compassionate. So, and genuine act of kindness, whatever that may be, as opposed to avoiding being mean to someone. And I think we've all been in that situation. Maybe it was something somebody's wearing, they asked you what you look like, you know, we've all been there, I think. But also the compassion is to actually be kind to both yourself genuinely and other people genuinely, rather than avoid being mean to yourself or being mean to others, because that's a different motivation, a different drive. That's not necessarily compassionate. Oh, I've done a lie about this. Okay, so showing compassion, interestingly, this one, showing compassion is to have a crucial conversation and not being nice to avoid conflict. Now, when I talked, if you caught my live about, or my episode about crucial conversations, you will know this, but I'll recap it anyway. Crucial conversations, right? So you understand what it is when you're showing compassion. A crucial conversation is when you address something with somebody close to you that has a high emotional risk, that has a risk to the relationship and has a risk to long-standing having communication with that person, right? That's a crucial conversation. So this can be risky, right? But the reward is massive, because actually once you've had that conversation, and if you've ever had these yourself, you'll know the relationship draws closer together. And that's just showing compassion to somebody and saying, actually, I'm not going to be mean about this, but I am actually going to have a crucial conversation because we need to build on this as a relationship. However, that's showing compassion, because you're being compassionate to that person. However, to be nice, to avoid having a fight with them, so avoiding having the conversation, is the polar opposite of showing compassion, right? Because actually you're avoiding almost drawing close with that person. You're avoiding building and working that relationship. You're doing the polar opposite. Compassion, okay? So compassion, recognizing your own needs. Oh, this is a tough one for a lot of people. Recognizing your own needs. It's not ignoring your own needs. So to be compassionate with yourself is not ignoring what makes you feel good. So putting it to one side. To show compassion to yourself and to potentially those around you as well, if it, you know, impacts on your mood and theirs, is to not ignore your own needs, because they are important and they do make you feel good. Okay, so this is what I've been talking about a lot just the last 48 hours. Okay, to be compassionate is to focus on the process, not focusing on the result and telling yourself off for not getting it right. So how does that, let me go into that one a little bit more, because that is one I have been talking about a lot just over the last 48 hours or so. So focusing on the process is to some degree to focus on your habits or your behaviours. So to focus on looking at, I suppose you could say, looking after things that make you feel good. That is to focus on a behaviour or a habit rather than the outcome, right, or the results of losing weight or whatever you want to do, or feel whatever it is your goal in terms of numbers. Because if you put something on it like an outcome goal and you don't get it, you do tell yourself off. You should have done that. You should have got to that goal. Why didn't you get to that goal? Come on. Actually, if you focus on your behaviours and you focus on the process of getting that feeling, then you're more likely to be successful and you're more compassionate with yourself, right? It happens time and time again with clients. If I say to them, Joe, all I want you to focus on is your daily routine. Just your daily routine. Okay? Worry about the weight number later. That will come as a byproduct of focusing on your process, right? Or your habit over focusing on the result. Okay, I've got to lose a pound this week. If I say to a client, lose a pound this week, 9.9 times out of 10, they will not, because they're not focused on the process. They're focused on the result. And that can be very kind of black or white. Because if they get it, great. White, okay, I'm fantastic. Next week, bad, right? So it nurtures, right, the absolute opposite of compassion, right? Now, there's just a few of the ones I've gone over today, right? And some of you might listen to some of this and go, okay, this really sounds like something I've done before, or sounds like I'm something doing now. And the important thing is that there's a shared theme amongst all of these. And some of you might have picked up in it and some of you might not have. It's okay, because I'm going to show you and tell you. So when considering if you're being compassionate with yourself, it's really primarily important to think about your language so much. Like if I do any work with a client on language, which I have done repeatedly over this year, quite a lot, and if you talk to any of these clients, they're like they're like oh my god, they're completely different people now. However, it's because it's all about the language you tell yourself, right? Now I've talked about this a lot before And compassion is no different to be compassionate with yourself or not to be compassionate. So let's just go over them. We'll use this as the recap, but also so you can listen to a little bit to it, listen to the language, listen to what's being said and not being said. So giving yourself a break, right, opposed to giving yourself a get out of jail free card. Being kind to yourself versus letting yourself off the hook. Choosing to be genuinely kind rather than avoiding being mean. How many of you have done that? Right, I'll go about that one. Think about the language you tell yourself when you're in that situation. Having a crucial conversation or a high-risk conversation with somebody close to you, as opposed to being nice to avoid conflict. Recognising your own needs as opposed to ignoring your own needs. So I've done that. I think loads of people do that in a minute as well. So focusing on the process as opposed to focusing on the result and telling yourself off. That last bit is a big one, right? I think I've spoken to so many clients about telling themselves off about not hitting a result. Now, all of these again, right, to go full circle, all focus on language and what we tell ourselves while we're achieving or not achieving something. So to being compassionate with yourself is also to be mindful and aware of your own language. Primary your own language. Once you unlock the key, right, this is why I'm meant to be very clear about this as part of my final touch on this one. If you unlock the key of how you talk to yourself and what language you use with yourself, you are opening up an absolute treasure trove of everything you've ever wanted to succeed in life, in health, relationships, all of it. If you really focus on how you speak to yourself and how your thoughts are worded over what you think, you will find there's an absolute wealth of things you can achieve. And the thing is it's like working with a coach, right? Helps you understand that. Working with a coach helps you understand how to achieve that, how to change your language, where to start, right? How to start looking at your language and language choices and where that can evolve to. I'm going to say it needs a coach, no lie. So if you're watching, listening to this, you're thinking, right, actually, this is some of the stuff I'm kind of dealing with at the minute, or kind of some of the stuff that I am challenged with at the moment, then hit up the link I've put on, because if you really want to experience how to get past some of this stuff and actually work seriously on your own compassion, if you're really struggling to lose weight or have piled weight on over this year, it's a big challenge, then one of the key things to do is work on mindset, work on how you talk to yourself, work on the thoughts you say to yourself when you look in the mirror about how your body's changed or not changed, because fundamentally that's the way to make change happen for you, right? And that's compassion, right? I don't know which is the best one. I know which the best one is. Personally, I'll tell you what my favourite is. Oh, it's between the two. It's the crucial conversation or focus on result and not telling yourself off. Because I'm going to go with the last one. If I think of all my time working with clients, the most damaging to the process of losing weight is to be focused on the result and telling themselves off for not achieving it. Because nobody's your worst critic more than you, right? If you can't find anybody who's a harder critic or more mean or more vicious or about your behaviours than yourself, ever, I don't think. I think it's always yourself that's the meanest. So again, if you need to work on that, then hit us up and we'll have a chat and we'll sort it out for you. Right, in the meantime, we got how to be guilt-free. We love that one. And we got one about the old walks this week, challenging yourself. Oh, you bangers. This is Secret Squirrel, the best food for weight loss. Just in case you weren't aware of what the best food for weight loss might be, I can tell you that this week. Ta-da! Sorted. Right, in the meantime, have a lovely evening and I will catch you all